Hey, we're Whiskey Fans. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kara.
What do we have today, Kara?
We have 291.
What?
Rye whiskey. This is finished in maple syrup barrels.
I'm sorry, something just like went in my head. Do you think 291 is like the
An area code? We probably should have checked that, but yeah, I think
probably
that
should
makes
have googled
sense.
that. Me and Googs go like that. We go way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is dark whiskey. I don't know if you guys can check. I really
can't
love
see
the.
through it.
I really love the shape of this bottle, rounded,
Right?
square. It's very elegant.
When I went to port, I was like, "Ooh, this is sexy
I like
and lovely."
It's tapered on the end for people of small hands, such as myself. If I just hold it here, it's quite nice. It is 63.45%.
We're gonna get kicked in the face.
This girl is. So I really like it's a very interesting label. I don't know what the large M stands for, but here you
Maple.
go. Maple. That makes sense.
Aww.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about
So this is a rye.
It's a rye.
It's a rye finished. There's no age statement that I didn't find it.
Right.
So they finish it for a minimum of like 4 months in Wisconsin maple barrels.
Ooh, maple syrup.
Yeah. And
I like
okay,
pancakes.
the thing with the 291 distillery is that they finish in the Aspen Wood staves.
That's right.
That's where the intriguing part with it is. Yes.
That's their bag.
And
I get it.
I'm embarrassed to say this is actually the first expression we've tried from them.
So many whiskeys, so little
Yeah,
time.
I mean, it's
Sorry.
available here in California. We've seen them, except for, I believe, the barrel proof rye
Yeah, that's
and the
what
bourbon are the hardest ones to get. So they have the small batch, which is not talking anything about it because we haven't tried
Never
it.
tried
They
it.
could be amazing as well because some of those other distilleries, we actually prefer the small batch versus the barrel proof. So you don't know.
Cool. So
I'm excited to try this.
This is super dark. I know I mentioned it, but I still can't get over how dark
I
this is.
think this is, I don't know if it's a batch release or an annual release. It's bottle 311 over 944.
This is batch 2.
Batch 2.
I wonder
What's
how
your
many
favorite
they-
number?
2 is my favorite
Good
number.
things. It does not smell sweet.
No, it doesn't. It smells very
It has almost like a rich espresso flavor to it. Not like straight coffee, but you know,
Oh.
like when you get some fancy, like ridiculously expensive coffees.
it's like pour overs.
Yes. What is
I want a really delicious nitro coffee right now. It sounds delicious.
Do you have like $10,000 for like 4 ounces of that?
Yeah.
This smells very outdoorsy.
I was just about to say, there's an outdoorsy quality. I feel that, I don't know how to qualify that outdoorsy smell for you guys. I know you know what I'm talking about, but I wish I could give you more.
I'm from LA. I have
Descriptions.
no idea. Except for camping. That's my only reference.
It's like
For outdoorsy.
It smells like fresh air and trees and like foliage. There's like
I live
a
in
whole
LA. I don't know
combo
what fresh
going
air
on.
is.
Ooh, I just got the
This smells.
I just got the heavy dark
It's got like a. Is it like a dark cocoa powder?
there's something dark there, yeah.
This smells very
Woo.
rich.
It's exciting.
It doesn't smell like any other bourbon I've tried.
It's because it's so rye.
Well, sorry, whiskey.
There's just something. There's a tinge right in the background. I just got it. That it's dark, heavy.
It has like a savory smell.
It's the soil note of the outdoors, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
If outdoors were made with food.
Oh. I'm not getting any of the maple on the nose.
I'm not.
This is really pleasant. I can just nose this.
That is definitely a nosing
This is-
rye.
It has a little bit of leather to it. Like I keep thinking of like a leather worn in chair, you know, just.
It's tobacco and leather. That's
Yeah.
that's the heavy note.
Yep.
I'm going in. I cannot wait.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is not... Oh, okay.
Oh, that was a turn.
Whoa. Okay, so I was going towards, like... I turned a left onto one street. Then somehow I ended up in a cul-de-sac. Did a complete U-turn. Went across the street and I found another goddamn U-turn. I'm lost.
Same.
Siri,
What she
help
said.
me get out.
I definitely need GPS.
This, though...
Okay, so it did not start. Okay, it started. This is how it started for me. Ooh, sweetness. I can feel the rye building. Ooh, but sweetness. And then it was like, oh, you think you know where you're going, but you don't know where you're going. and it went
Lost.
hard left.
You're lost.
What is that mid palate?
On the palate right now, I'm still tasting like a toasted oak, like a charred toasty oak.
Is that
Like
mid
from a
palate?
campfire, a toasted oak.
This does not taste like a rye to me.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? Knowing that it was finished in maple syrup barrels,
Does that help you?
nothing on the palate except for the finish
There's
has
a
a sweetness. But it's more of like, I'm not thinking like maple that you put on pancakes or French toast or anything like that. It's a different sweetness, but it's a savory sweetness. It's not surprisingly as sweet as what you would think.
The
And that
sweetness
makes me
for me,
extremely happy.
the sweetness for me is very sweet, but it's right on the front. It's right.
I
on the
wonder if the Aspen Staves creates that mid pellet that we're like, what is that?
front. I wonder because we've
Yeah.
never had
No.
291 before, so maybe that's what we're not knowing what to expect.
Wow. Even on the palate is like,
This is a bit too sweet
Nature.
for me.
really?
Yeah, I get a lot of
I'm only
sugar
getting the
on the
sweet.
front.
I'm only getting the sweetness on like after you hit the mid to the back end. That's it.
I'm getting it the whole way.
Really?
Yeah, when I take
I'm not.
a small sip and I hold it in my mouth, it's pure sugared candy. It's like maple.
I
You
get
know
the
those,
sweetness,
like,
but it doesn't overpower for me.
it's you know. Have you ever when you cook down sugar, but right before it completely liquefies, there's a crystallization that happens in between sugar and liquid sugar. There's a weird
It's called deliciousness.
Right. That's
That's
that's what I get with a hint of maple. There's some maple candies that can be more of on the crystalline sugar flavor.
That's my
profile.
disconnect with that.
Oh, 'cause I like maple
you
candy.
eat maple candy.
I do.
I only have a reference of maple with like syrup that I
Yeah.
don't
No.
really put on pancakes or waffles
love
every once in a
maple.
while.
I love maple candy, and there's this crystalline sugar that just it lingers.
This just smells like heaven in a glass.
I do like the nose.
This actually, I do have to say, and I hate comparing distilleries together, but they're both small distilleries. On the nose, it reminds me of Peerless Double Oak that we have.
Ooh. Oh, I can see why.
Right?
That Peerless Double Oak is fantastic.
It's very rich and it's got a thick viscosity to
I want
it.
to try their small batch, but I really want to try their barrel proof rye without the maple.
This right here is making me be like, hey, 291,
They're intriguing.
tell me more.
They're intriguing.
Because this, I think, is, like we discussed, we haven't tried the regular offering. If this is what it is in a finished, either they know what they're doing with their finishing, or they just have good whiskey.
I have a question for you.
Oh shit! Is this a multiple choice answer?
No, it's a.
God damn it!
It's
Do
literally
all of the above.
It's literally a yes or no.
Okay.
Have you ever had
Easy.
a shot of espresso that you've put no dark
No,
brown?
already.
If you put you know that raw the sugar in the raw.
Mhm.
And you take the sugar in
That
the
never
raw,
melts?
That never melts.
Mhm.
And you put it in a high espresso.
Mhm.
You swirl it and you're like, please melt, please melt, please melt. And then you go to it and it's super sweet, and then you get that earthy like darkness.
I don't know what you're describing
That's-
because I put cream in my stuff, so I don't get that. I'm
So
sorry.
you know, guys, not you.
Er,
You know what I mean? There's right on the finish.
Yeah.
I was getting this weird sweetness mixed with something else. And that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of taking a shot of espresso with sugar in the raw mixed in, and because it's actually quite sweet, and then but it has a
It has
at the end.
so much other for me that the sweetness isn't overpowering to me. It has a
too
sweetness
much
to
for me.
it, but it's not like extremely sweet where it's dessert in a glass sweetness to me. Maybe compared to other finishing
I'm gonna
barrels
have
that
to
we've had, they're just extremely
I'm gonna have to come
sweet.
back to this on a different day with a different mindset, because my palate doesn't pick a lot of. I taste a little bit of woodiness that is like maybe that could be
I
rye.
get like a toasty woody, and I'm getting just leather for days
Okay.
with the sweetness.
Okay.
But I like how I mentioned, I don't equate maple like you do, because you do have different forms of maple and I just have the syrup, so it's hard for me to go beyond that.
Mhm.
I'm getting a sweetness that's just like a thick syrupy
It's
kind
almost,
ofness.
it's almost too much.
but it's at the end palate.
I get the. I get it almost.
It's like right after the mid, and then it goes into the finish for me. I'm just getting leather and tobacco and toasted oak.
That sounds nice.
I do have like some, craft distilleries have a distinct note.
There's
I do
one
get
right
that
there.
where it's a slight corn. So does this have any corn to it? I wonder. Like,
We don't know the mash bill, right?
I'm sure maybe it's undisclosed, but I don't know if we could find it somewhere online. I don't know. Someone's
We can
guess. But it has something that's more distinct of other craft distilleries I have that's in common that reminds me of a slight corn. It just could be
like a youthful note.
useful note, but I don't know if it is the corn
Do you
or
get
if
on
it's just.
Do you get it on the back of the almost right at the front of the finish?
No, it's
Where do you
right
get
before
it?
the mid pellet. It's like the beginning
It's
before
right in
the
the beginning.
mid. Yeah.
I get this weird note right before the finish. That's interesting.
No,
Where? Right?
right in the beginning.
Oh.
You're way past the beginning.
No, I told you. No, it's still on my tongue.
Okay.
I told
Like,
you.
I'm not sure what that is. I'm just thinking
Oh, I
it's
see.
corn because of what we've had with corn, but because this is a rye, we don't know what the mash bill is, unless it's just very distinct to certain
That's interesting.
craft distillers.
I don't. It's not. How do I say this? It's
be no
not.
corn at
It's not
all.
like youthful in a
no.
in a unpleasant way. There's a note in it. I know what you're talking about. It's interesting. I like that because it's not sweet. It's more of this weird.
It's a savoriness
It
to
is. It is.
I really enjoy this bottle, and I'm kind of happy you don't enjoy it as much as me because there's more for me.
It's a little
That
too
might be
sweet.
selfish.
I'm gonna come back on a different day with
Yeah.
a different mindset because I was expecting a little bit more rye to show up.
Mm-hmm.
It is more bourbony to me.
Actually, I would probably give samples of this to people who don't like rye because of that fact.
That's actually a good point.
You'd be like, "Ha, got you."
You like
Trying
to
to
rye.
rye.
You just like to rye. So, give us a comment below. Have you had anything from 291? Do you have any recommendations on your list that we should try?
They have other expressions, the HR, high rye, and then there's another thing, I forget. Is it wise guy? Something guy? I think that has it's a 4 grain.
Who's
It's
to
wheat.
say?
But I chose the maple because it was a rye.
Cool.
Me.
While you're down there, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you like what we're doing. And turn on those notifications so you can join us in our next video.
And don't be afraid of craft distilleries.
Ooh, good stuff
Don't be
coming out
afraid.
of craft lately. But I don't know about you, but I fancy this whiskey.
I fancy this whiskey more.
I think she's gonna fight me for it. All right.
Gloves on.
Cheers.